I'm Andrea Giles, and you're listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, episode number 67, Accountability and Responsibility. Hello, and welcome to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, where courageous women learn not only to heal from their spouse's betrayal, but to become the boldest, truest, most decisive, and confident versions of themselves ever. If you know there's more for you than the life you're currently living, but don't quite know how to get there, you are in the right place. Stick around to learn how to create a life that will knock your own socks off. Is it possible? It is, and I'm here to show you how. I'm your host, Andrea Giles. Are you ready? Let's dive in. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. I am going to be talking about accountability and responsibility today. Does that sound super fun? I hope that you learned some things. I hope it is interesting and engaging and that you learned some stuff, okay? This is a topic I've been thinking about. It's a question that I get a lot from my clients. Like, how do I know if he is taking accountability? How do I know if he's taking responsibility for his stuff? How do I know if I'm taking responsibility for my stuff? And so I thought, let's do a podcast and dive into this, okay? So what does it mean to be accountable? How do you know if your spouse is being accountable? How do you know what you're accountable for? Where is the line? How do we hold our spouses accountable? Okay, I'm going to cover all of this. So I'm going to use some different examples so that you can hopefully understand it at a deeper level. My hope is that you can come away from this podcast seeing areas where you can grow, whether it be in handing over accountability and responsibility to the rightful owners of what they need to be responsible for without trying to fix it for them, or by seeing ways that you are taking on too much responsibility and accountability, or not taking on enough responsibility or accountability and moving forward, making some changes. Okay. So what does it mean to be accountable? Being accountable means an obligation or willingness to accept responsibility or to account for one's actions. Okay. So many times when I'm coaching my clients, they tell me that their spouse has admitted what they did and they don't want to talk about it ever again. They don't want to be asked questions. They don't want to go talk to a third party about it. They say, I just want to move on. Can't we just move on? But for most of my clients, this is not enough. Okay. So to be clear, full admission is not the same as being accountable. It's not the same thing. It is a very necessary part, right? Admitting to it, saying it. It is a really important part, but it is not the same as taking full responsibility for the actions taken. Okay. Okay. So first of all, I want to talk about some telltale signs of not being responsible for your actions and what it looks like in real life. Okay. So several years ago, I read this talk that was by somebody named Lynn Robbins, and it's called 100% Responsible. Okay. It's a great talk. And in this talk, he gave a list that he calls the anti-responsible list, meaning if you are doing these things, you are not taking responsibility. Okay. So I want you to look at areas in your relationship with your partner and even with yourself that you might be engaging in some of these activities. Okay. Now, I did not copy. I really made this my own. I used some of his ideas, but really made it my own for you, for my audience. So here we go. Number one, first of all, I'm going to go through these number by number. I'm going to say what it is and give an example. Okay. Number one, blaming others. If you were more affectionate, I would have never done this. If you were kinder, if you were more understanding, I wouldn't have done this. So it's your fault. Okay. Number two, rationalizing or justifying. I was manipulated and taken advantage of. I couldn't help it. I just was really weak and vulnerable and felt unwanted, and this person lured me in. Or I was drunk. I didn't know what I was doing. I was just drunk. So I don't know. I'm not accountable for something for when I was drinking and don't remember any of it. Okay. Number 3, making excuses. You were never around and you didn't seem interested in me. I want to clarify that making excuses is not the same as giving a reason. Okay. Making an excuse is like, don't look at me, point that finger around, go look somewhere else. Okay. This is not my fault. Giving a reason is a very different thing. So when I have like my teenage son whose go-to answer for anything that we ask is, I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. We've said to him, that is not valid. I want to hear your reason. And then you might say something and it's an excuse. Well, no one told me about this. Like, let's say it's a homework assignment. Nobody told me. Whose job is it to find out? I guess it's mine. Okay. And down we go until sometimes it gets to the reason why I didn't do this is because I didn't want to. Okay. That's owning it. Okay. Fair enough. There's still consequences, but at least you're owning it instead of trying to shift the blame. Okay. Number 4, minimizing or trivializing. I don't know why you're so upset. It could have been so much worse. We just sent some pictures and messages. Nothing else happened. What are you so mad about? It was just a kiss. Okay. That's a big one. Number 5, hiding. Why do you need to know? Don't you know enough? When is it going to be enough? I said I was sorry. Number 6, fleeing from responsibility. I didn't come home because I didn't want to upset you. I thought it would be easier on you if I just stayed away. Doesn't that sound noble? Just kidding. But yes, like I don't want it to be hard for you. So I'm just going to leave for the weekend so that you can feel better. Okay. Number 7, denying or lying. I don't know what you're talking about. Of course you would think that I did that. You always think the worst of me. I said I didn't do it. Why do you keep asking? Number 8, rebelling. You think I'm so awful anyway. I'll show you what awful is. I'll show you what mean is. Number 9, complaining and murmuring. I don't know why you have to keep bringing this up. Can't you just get over it? You're making my life so hard. Can't you just move on? Number 10, making demands and entitlement. It is your job as my wife to be intimate with me whenever I want. It's your job. It's your duty. Okay. Number 11, indulging in self-pity and a victim mentality. I may as well stop trying. You're never going to believe me anyway. I'm just a loser. I know I just suck. Okay. Number 12, being indecisive. I just can't decide if I want to stay with her or you. Can you just give me more time to figure it out? I love you both. I love you both. I love you and I love her. Can't you just give me more time to figure this out? Okay, so that's a long list. Do any of those sound familiar? One more that I would add is enabling. We'll give it a number 13, enabling. Enabling is another way of shirking our own responsibility and giving it away to somebody else, saying, well, I don't want them to whatever, fall apart or get mad. So I'm just going to let them do this thing that goes against what I want and what I value. And that's another form of shirking our own responsibility. Okay. So what do we do with this list? How can we help our spouses be more accountable? How can we be more accountable? Guess what? The answer is in taking responsibility for ourselves. It looks like this. We don't blame them for our unwillingness to say hard things or ask the hard questions. Okay. We're not blaming them. We're saying, I am afraid. We're taking responsibility instead of saying, well, they're going to get mad. They might leave. They might storm out, right? We are owning it and going, I'm scared. I'm afraid. I'm afraid. But when it comes down to it, I want more. I want this relationship to move forward, or I want to get more information here so I can make a sound decision. So I'm willing to be afraid and lean in and do and say the hard thing. So here are some points about how we can be more responsible, more accountable, and move things along for ourselves. Okay. One huge thing we can do is to allow our spouse to feel their own discomfort without swooping in and trying to fix it for them. I know that it's hard, my friends. I know. But we are letting them feel it. We are owning how we feel and we're handing back what's not ours. Another thing we can do is we can learn to tolerate our own discomfort as we point out areas where our spouses or partners are abdicating responsibility. So, going to that list, if you see things that you know don't belong to you, we're like, no, nope, I'm not taking that one. I'm not taking that one. You don't get to use that as an excuse and you hand it back. It might feel really uncomfortable and you're just allowing yourself to be uncomfortable. You're growing in your tolerance to allow others to be responsible. Okay. We can also own our own truth. We can stop trying to minimize our own feelings and desires. We can stop waiting for them to change and to do something different so we can feel better. We can take action ourselves and move things forward, whether they decide to come with us or not. Okay, this is one I see so often, is this space that we go to where we are giving away the responsibility. Like, I'm just waiting for this. I'm just waiting for that. And this is very much outside of you. It's this thing outside of you. So are you going to wait forever for something that may or may not happen? Or are you going to decide to be accountable and responsible for the things that you want and take the actions needed to move forward? We can hide behind excuses like we don't want them to get mad, we don't want them to leave. And while those things can feel very threatening and real, change will not happen while we sit and wait. It will not happen. We can stop being over responsible for their choices. Okay. So many of my clients do, in fact, see where they have had their own walls up. They've kept their guard up, maybe their whole marriage. Maybe they came from homes where it was not safe to let people see you. And so they went into the marriage being kind of distant, withholding, not real interested in intimacy. And then their spouse makes the choices that they do. And then my clients take on the responsibility as if the spouse couldn't help it. They had no other choice. Okay. Or we may not fully take responsibility for their choice, but we try to minimize any hurt they may feel. We might try to pad their experience for them by being really, really careful with how we speak to them. Like really careful, really guarded, how we have discussions. We're walking on eggshells as to not rock the boat. Because we might think in our mind, well, if I were more this or this and this, then he probably wouldn't have done this in the first place. So we are owning what is ours and saying, yeah, I may have had my walls up. Yeah, I probably could have been whatever, less critical. But again, you'll hear me say this over and over. The choices made are the person who made them alone. Okay. They are theirs alone. So what is the remedy? What does responsibility look like here? Okay. So something that we like to do that's very much human nature is to negotiate on the consequences. We get to choose the choice, but we don't always get to choose the consequences, right? I learned this very important lesson when I was 9. I think I was 9 years old. I think maybe I've mentioned this before, but for whatever reason, I decided I wanted candy and I went and stole it. And I got caught. I had a pack of gum and a pack of Lifesavers and I got caught. I got driven in the back of a police car to the police station. I had a record for a year, on file. I had to write a 6-page essay on theft. I had to go to court and talk to a social worker about why I stole. And they asked me if I wanted to go to a foster home. Don't steal an organ. They are serious there about stealing. And all of that was really, really hard. I got in a lot of trouble at home as well, a lot of trouble. And I learned a lot though. Like at that young age, even though it was a very difficult experience as a 9-year-old girl, I learned that there are consequences to our choices. Do you think I've ever stolen again? Nope. Sure have not. I chose to steal the candy, right? I did not get to choose my consequences. Okay. Have you ever seen people try to negotiate the consequences? Like, well, how about if you just lower that record to 6 months and I'll do this and this and this? And why is it not okay? I was really hungry. I could have given all the excuses, everything. I was too terrified to do any of that, right? But we do that in our relationships. We try to negotiate the consequences, cause and effect. If you're going to make the choice, you're also choosing the consequence, whatever it may be, a good one or a more painful one. Okay. So I want to give you some things to look for in your spouses, in your partners, to see if they are being accountable. Okay. This is a question I get a lot. So in preparing for this episode, I found a great article. It was in Psychology Today, written by a man named Guy Winch, PhD. And the article is called How to Take Full Responsibility for an Affair. Now, some of you listening aren't dealing with the full-on affair, but you are dealing with some kind of breach of trust. Okay. So this article is essentially about 8 steps you can take to rebuild trust through actions and not words. Okay. So again, before I dive into this, I want to just say again that admitting to the discretion is not the same thing as being accountable for it. Okay. It would be like me stealing and saying, look, I told you we're good now. I told the truth. We're good now. No, we weren't. I had to make restitution. I had to prove that I was a trustworthy citizen and that I wasn't going to go steal again, right? Okay. The admission part is very important, but there are other pieces that need to happen. They involve actions, dealing with the consequences, putting in the work of rebuilding the damaged relationship. So here are the 8 things to look for. Number 1, stop the affair. One cannot repair a relationship with a partner while one has contact with the other person. Taking full responsibility for one's actions means stopping the affair and ceasing all contact. Number 2, figure out why you had an affair, including the reasons, motivations, triggers, excuses, justifications, opportunities, and circumstances that allowed it to happen. Do the work. Understand why you did it. Number 3, figure out what you plan to do if and when each of the reasons, motivations, triggers, excuses, justifications, opportunities, and circumstances appear again, because they probably will. Number 4, be ready to listen and talk when your partner needs you to. Taking full responsibility means being ready to help your partner recover when they need you to be there for them, whether you're in the mood to talk or not. Number 5, avoid promising it will never happen again until you have figured out the why. Taking full responsibility means not promising things you cannot guarantee. Unless you've dug deep and figured out why you cheated, you do not have sufficient grounds to believe you won't do it again. Fear, regret, and remorse are not sufficient deterrents. They fade with time. Number 6, contain your partner's feelings. Your partner will go through cycles of feeling close and distant, loving and hateful, trusting and suspicious, as well as other emotional extremes. Taking full responsibility means it is your job to be understanding, supportive, and sympathetic as they go through these cycles. For example, they might feel trusting and loving one moment, then feel stupid for feeling trusting and loving, then feel rage at you for making them so unable to trust their own feelings. Yes, it's difficult to contain another person's rapidly shifting emotional states, but since you caused them, it is your responsibility to do so. Now, with that, okay, I want to just poke a little bit at that. It says, since you caused them. This is from this article, okay? No one can make you feel anything. But what you did do is you handed a circumstance to your spouse that they are going to have thoughts and feelings about. And so something that you can do is help them while they navigate those feelings. Okay. Number 7, provide transparency. If you want your partner to trust you again, you have to demonstrate that you're trustworthy. For example, if they want to look at your phone, let them. Don't roll your eyes and don't ask them why they need to check your phone. By rolling your eyes, you're minimizing the fact that your actions made it difficult for them to trust you. Taking full responsibility means understanding that building trust takes time and cannot be rushed. Instead, try to welcome such requests as opportunities to soothe your partner's suspicions and prove yourself trustworthy. So hand over your phone with a simple, sure, here it is. Number 8, when it comes time to examine what aspects of the relationship were not working, what the betrayed partner might have been doing wrong, it is crucial to do so with the clear and expressed understanding that whatever wasn't working in the relationship in no way excuses or justifies the affair. Taking full responsibility means recognizing it was your job to discuss your satisfactions with your partner and not act them out. Can I say that one more time? Taking full responsibility means recognizing it was your job to discuss your dissatisfactions with your partner and not act them out. Okay? It says the bottom line is truly taking full responsibility for an affair should always be followed by weeks and months of actions and consequences. Otherwise, you're not taking responsibility at all. You're just admitting you got caught. I think that last bit here is really, really important because even if there are things that we might be dissatisfied about in our marriages, things that we might feel hurt about, right? It's our responsibility to own those things and go talk about them. Say, hey, this is not working for me. And instead, what happens often is looking elsewhere, going outside the marriage and acting out those dissatisfactions with something that feels better. Okay. Now, when I say feel better, it's temporary too. Okay. It's like a temporary hit. All right. Now, I want to add one quick thing. Don't put a time limit on it. There is no exact time when things will just be better. It will ebb and flow. It will feel really good for a while. Like you'll feel like you're making progress and then you'll feel like you're backtracking. Normal. Ultimately, not being accountable is an act of self-betrayal. We are essentially lying to ourselves. When we start taking responsibility for what is ours and moving forward, even if it is hard, we are becoming more aligned with who we are, what we are capable of, and what is true for us. Okay? Instead of giving up on ourselves and sometimes giving up on others. Sometimes our assessment of things can be true. Okay? For example, back in the anti-responsibility list, some of the things that we feel unhappy about in our marriages may be 100% true. A good question to ask is it useful? Is us hanging out, spending our time in blame and pointing fingers, helping us move forward, or is it holding us back? Can we go talk about those things? Can we look for a solution? Okay, to wrap this up, I want to give you a challenge and a reminder. First, the reminder. My friends, we have one life, one shot. That's it. All of us have a limited time on this earth. What do you want your experience to be? Do you want to squander your days waiting for something to happen? Blaming others for your unhappiness or doubting that you can ever be happy again? Or do you want to take your own one life into your own hands and actively create happiness, peace, clarity? I challenge you to find an area you are not being accountable for and start owning it. And I challenge you to find an area you are taking responsibility for that is not yours to carry and hand it back. It's okay. Hand it back to the owner. It was never yours to carry, despite what you may have been told. Go live this one life. Show up for yourself. Do the hard thing. Okay? Go have the courageous conversation. Do the hard thing. Now, I want to say in just wrapping this up, that some of you listening have had the decision made for you. Some of you listening have had your partner leave. Okay. How are you still advocating responsibility? How are you doing those anti-responsible things and blaming? And how is that helping you move forward? Or is it keeping you stuck? I know it's tough to look at these things. Okay. I know that it's tough. I know that I say hard things sometimes. I promise you, it is from love. It is from care. It is from wanting the best things for all of you. We are the stewards of our own life. We get to create the life we want, and it's a gift. Go create it. Okay. I hope that you have learned from this today. Hope that you find it useful as you move forward, and I will see you next time. Thank you for listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast. If you would like to be kept in the know about upcoming free classes, new podcast episodes, and other ways of working with me, go subscribe to my weekly email. You can subscribe at AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. Again, it's AndreaGiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. I will see you next time.